G'day Badlers and welcome to episode 22, Roads to Worlds Edition 2024, with co-host PvP Steve.
Hi.
And myself, Debbie Pebble, where we talk all things Pokemon Go PvP in the Oceania region. Today we have a very special guest. This battler has been to Worlds twice, even day 2'd twice, both times at Worlds, and has been a regional champion twice. Has reached legend in GBL many times, but you know what? Still doesn't have a shiny Pikachu Libre, so what's with that? Anyway, welcome, ValiantVish.
Hello. I have to correct you, Debbie. Though. I'm only a one-time regional champion.
What?
No,
Yeah.
second place at Melbourne 2022.
Oh.
Yes, there you go. Yes.
Steve, why did you correct me when I wrote this earlier?
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, you know, back then, like Perth and Melbourne were very separated. There was only that, Fish and Heater was the only crossover between the two events.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget what was going on in the other one. I mean, on the OCIC stream, I did claim that Melbourne was the first regional in Australia, which was false.
So basically, just don't listen to Steve.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, ValiantVish, welcome to the podcast. You were back on in, I think Debbie said it was literally the very first episode, way back when we did the Road to Worlds Edition 2023. So welcome back. For those that don't know you, which I do think is going to be pretty rare for someone that listens to the G'day Battlers podcast to not know who you are, but just for good measure, do you just sort of want to intro who you are, list literally all of your accolades, etc., etc.?
All right. So my name is Vishal Naidu, aka ValiantVish. I was based in Sydney until recently. I've actually moved to Brisbane, and I think that's going to probably be my home of residence for the foreseeable future. PvP wise, yeah, I think Debbie just mentioned it, right? Like been to Worlds twice, day 2 twice, was the ex Brisbane champion. I think that now goes to Yako, like everything else. Did well at OCIC. Do all right in GBL. What else? Signed with Legends United as my factions team, which is also quite fun, as I'm like the only Oceania represented battler out there, which is nice. What else? I think that's it.
I'm sure there's plenty more than that. I mean, I will say I'm pretty sure I counted this up on Dracoviz a little bit earlier, but you've competed in 8 sort of play Pokemon tournaments, like the official circuit, I guess, regionals, ICs, Worlds, and literally 7 out of 8 of them you've finished in the top 12, with the only one outside of that being Yokohama Worlds, where you ended up 17th, which is like, oh my gosh, only 17th. But that's, essentially, you were riding along the winners bracket. So you actually went really deep into things all the same.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That actually sounds good. 7 out of 8. Maybe we can challenge Axum in somewhere. Right?
I think it's a pretty good record to have. Yeah. And I think over half of them, or maybe just half of them, were in the top 4 as well. I think it's actually half of them. Also, not too shabby.
I think I've gotten 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then this season 4th and 5th. So I'm trying to collect the Infinity Stones. Right? I just need 6, 7, and 8, I guess.
Oh, don't tell me we're finishing Worlds in 6th place. That better not be coming?
Yeah, we'll see. We want that 1st place though.
We do.
Okay, fair enough. But I guess going into this season, a little bit different to the last one, whereas the last one, it was very much you have to hit 1st or 2nd to qualify, which, I mean, you literally did off the first tournament last season. So, not very stressful for you, I suppose. But going into this season, we had championship points. And at the start of the season, it was that 300 CP qualification bar for the Oceanic region. I wanted to ask what your plan was going into the season as to how you wanted to qualify. Were you looking for that 1st place? Were you looking to try and this combination of points? I know last week Rick mentioned that he was sort of going for that. Well, if I hit top 8 3 times, then that's qualification. So that's the sort of bar I'm looking for. What was your attitude going into things? Again, in the mindset of we didn't have locals yet.
Mm, mm. I'll be honest. There were no goals when the OC circuit was announced. I was pretty dejected with the announcement. Like, no CIC, no official streamed event. Only 3 regionals that were announced, and like no locals at the time. At
Mm.
300 CP cap, like it was tough, right? It was a tall order for any battler, even someone of like my capability as well. So honestly, expectation wise, I don't really set any, and I just wanted to take it event by event, and see how we go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's
Mm,
fair enough because I think it's new for everyone, right? It's not
mm,
something that Pokemon Go has had to sort of wrestle with before. The VG and the TCG guys are all over the championship point system, but you're right. It was a bit of a not only was it something that was a bit of an unknown, but it was something that looked like, as you said, a really tall order for Australia at the start of the season, where you could literally place top 4 twice and you wouldn't quite qualify for Worlds. So I guess that's probably fair enough. It's probably realistic to look at it in a little bit of a no major goals. But I guess you could also say that it's probably, we can say this from the outside, but it's probably realistic to assume that you'd be able to qualify pretty solidly, regardless. I would suggest at least. Maybe
oh, thank
that's.
you, thank you for the vote of confidence, guys.
Look, we believe in
Course.
you pretty strongly. I think.
Mm.
With that said, though, I guess this is a little bit of a recap and then a looking forward as far as this season's concerned. So let's talk a little bit about that very first regional of the season, which was the Brisbane Regional Championship, where, I mean, usually we would, if we talked right after the tournament, we'd sort of go through each match a little bit. This was like 6 months ago, so I'm not expecting you to have a, photographic memory of what actually went down. But what does sort of stand out to you from that tournament?
Yeah, it was a while ago. But yeah, okay. So I got fourth place, I believe, right in
Mm-hmm.
Brisbane.
Yes.
And I'm just pulling up my Dracovish profile.
Shout out
It's
Dracovish.
long.
Yes. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So the team. So I ran a pretty meta team, but I always like to add something sort of different, right?
Mm-hmm.
To keep things fresh. So this time I actually ran Octobax and Chargebug as the fifth and sixth option. So I think, if I recall, I was inspired by Rajeff's team,
Mm-hmm.
because he actually won LAIC with a Chargebug, uh, a Water Gun Lantern team. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted something sort of similar, but I needed something with a little bit more offense, because he also ran like Licky and Umbreon. So I was actually quite a big fan of Octobax at the time, because Octobax was offering a lot of strong play against the meta at the moment. So I think the meta was like Licky, Umbreon, Gligar, Lantern, Superior, Swampert, even Frostlass, like great answers to all of them, right? So I was like, okay, let's try and make Octobax work. And I felt really good because I did do some preparation beforehand, and I was doing all right in practice. And I remember very clearly my first round. It was a round one loss to Beats Boy,
Mm.
and he placed third last year. The year before that. And it was a tough comp for me. And I don't really remember too much, but it was a tough loss in game three there. So um, that was interesting. And then I had to go through the gauntlet, through losers. So it was names like Anacor. I think I had to go to Beats Boy again, which I ended up winning against. I had to go through Gone and Fishy Legs.
Hold up.
So
You're missing one important person here, which is Alan Surprise.
oh yes, Alan. Let's not forget Alan. So yes, my confidence was low, and when I saw that transfer, Alan, oh man, oh that was so much fun though. Honestly, like even being in losers, it's not fun in general, especially for a competitive mindset like mine. But like just sitting down with Alan and looking a lot of you guys in the background, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Like, it's only a game. It's fine. Let's just have some fun. That was fun. That was a good moment.
Yeah, we were pretty
Yeah,
stoked.
yeah,
Alan obviously went in as a little bit of a number filler in the grand scheme of things, and he had a really tough, round one he had gone, I'm pretty sure, in Brisbane. And then, obviously ended up losing to Gone, and then round two had you, and it was just this
that's
perfect.
rough. Yeah, that's rough. Sorry, Alan.
That's rough for anyone, right? Just like
uh, oh, sorry, Alan. Yes.
I think he had a good
Uh,
time.
he had a
no, he
great
definitely
time.
did. He did. He did. It was good fun. It was nice to meet him and Zoe. Actually, it was good to have them part of the PvP scene.
Oh, absolutely. We're all very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I had to go through the gauntlet basically. I had to channel like OCIC from last year. But yeah, I think I knew like once I had a little bit of momentum in terms of my gameplay, I know that like I'm pretty difficult to beat. So I just needed to sort of get my confidence back through losers, and it
Mm.
eventually worked out. Like made day two, um, and then I was up against Yako, and like there are a lot of battles that you tend to forget, but there are some battles that you just never forget. And I'm like, this is one of those battles because um, I felt like uh, he had a very interesting team. I also had an interesting, and we were both running sort of different Pokemon, right? Like not conventional stuff. I think he was running like Canine and
Mm.
Pelipper or
Mm.
something like that. Yeah, he was running something like that, right? And I was running Afterback Charger Bug. So it was pretty interesting to see us like sort of move away from the meta a little bit and battle it out that way. Um, and then game one, I know my in terms of my preparation, I don't really actually do that much. I just wanted a good night's sleep and then just rock up and see what I was feeling. And but I did have a plan. And game one, he absolutely hard called me, and there was not much I could do there. Game two, I also think like it was a really really tough team comp, but um, I think Yako left me like a small window, and I just somehow capitalized from there. Game three, I'll never forget because I knew I took a while to lock in because I actually wanted to think about what my game plan was for every single situation. And I knew in terms of flexibility, his team was more flexible than mine. He had a little bit more options. I had my Medi, which was kind of very strong into his team, but there was not much else, right? So, but with game one and game two, I'm like, okay, this guy's just reading me. Let me try and anticipate what he's going to do. And so I anticipated the team that he was going to do. I actually built my team of three to basically hard counter that team. It was all going to plan. He swapped in his Umbreon, and then I Bozo swapped my Medi instead of my Octobacks. And yeah, it was as soon as that happened, like, man, it was tough. Like I knew it would have been different. Like if I did what I was gonna set out to do, so it was tough. Like, I lost focus, even though I felt like my game plan was on point. I was really
Mm.
really bummed. Like, but it happens. It is what it is. I honestly like recalling back then. I felt like I lost a lot of confidence in myself. Reflecting back on it, because yeah, I'm like, okay, you went all the way through losers and you had the chance and kind of blew it. You don't. There's not many opportunities to win back to back. Not back to back, but just winning regionals in general. So I was yeah, it is what it is. But 130 points, right? So it was
Mm.
that was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about CP, like, having 130 points out of 300 at that point, it's a big boost. Like you're almost halfway, right?
Mm.
Um, and coming, I think he's placed still very well in Brisbane, and then we head into the before we head into the next regional, which is Melbourne. We got that announcement on that Friday about championship points that it had been dropped, that extra 50 points. So when that announcement was released, did your plans changed, or how did you adapt to that?
Yeah, that was like a week or two before that, right? I think it was like very close to
I think it was
the
like a
Melbourne.
couple days before Melbourne.
Yeah, true, true. Because I remember like us all in Melbourne going, "Yay! Like, what is this? Like, they're actually listening to us. Like, this is fantastic. Great call by Niantic."
Thank you, TBCI.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, TPCI. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad they saw the light in the end because yeah, with only three premier events at the time, no locals, like we needed a little bit of help. So that was a good call. But honestly, again, like I said before, and the mantra was just take it event by event and see how we go. So I wasn't really planning for Perth or anything else like beyond that. I I initially, this was prior to Brisbane. I was thinking about NAIC actually very, very strongly, but
Mm.
life changed. So my life changed. Me and my wife were expecting a kid in June. It was
Woo!
yeah,
Woo!
yay, 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 yeah, yeah. So I mean, super stoked about all that, but unfortunately, no NAIC for me. So again, I was like, okay, let's just take it one event at a time and see how we go.
Yeah, priorities change through there. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we head into now Melbourne Regional. So how'd you feel about that regional in particular? Or what were your highlights?
Um, yeah, I wasn't happy with that one as well. Like
Mm.
so in terms of the team itself, I actually ran a really, really meta team because I was just um like not happy with the preparation or not happy with the meta in general. And so I was not confident with anything sort of different. So I ran some really, really meta stuff. And I lost game one again. And yeah, it was again one of those super frustrating moments because yeah, after winning game one against the Bastion player, I expected him to like change things up, and he ended up running the same thing, and I was super flustered and not really happy. And like it's one of those things which I tell I talk to a few people who are trying to get their invites to Worlds and coach a few people as well in terms of the technical, but also the mental side of things. And I often tell people like you have to sometimes you know play the player and not the team. But that's not
Mm.
always the case. I feel like sometimes when you're playing a player who's newer to the scene, RPS can still happen. So sometimes you
Mm.
actually have to play the team and not the player. So it was just frustrating that I don't actually follow my own. I didn't follow my own advice there. But it happens, and I
Mm.
had to go through losers again. I feel like just reflecting back on it, that was my toughest losers run because there were players that I did not want to face in losers. To be honest, like Inner Bloom, like fantastic player. I rate him very highly. I honestly rate him as like top five in Australia. He's just not had a good go of it on the play Pokemon side, but I feel like his time will come. Fish on a heater, he's had my number. I feel like for a while. So like he was also a very tough one. That was a very, very close set. And then I had like a Korean player, I think, who was tearing it up as well, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this guy's absolutely killing it," and it was like, "Okay,
Singaporean, I believe.
yeah, Singapore. Yeah, the name was Singapore, but he's Korean, right, or something like
Yes,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Something,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was exhausting going through that. But I was happy to come out of it into top eight and top six again. I had to go up against Claire, um,
Mm.
and then I think in terms of me and Claire, I think both of us had like a lot of neutral play against each other. I don't really remember too much. Um, and I actually try to think about like where I went wrong, right? Like, or what are moments in the match, not necessarily the games where I kind of screwed up. But I don't think I can pinpoint anything. So it's it's more a testament to Claire and how well she played me, like because I couldn't feel like yeah. like I said, like I couldn't point out where I went wrong. So she played me. She played a really really good set. Basically outplayed me. Another battler who's got the better of me recently. So yeah, yeah. But top, I think what top five, top six. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was another 100 and that was 100 points. So that was good.
Yeah, no, she shoots you
Yeah,
up to 230 total, but you're right.
yeah,
Claire has been absolutely killing it this season. By the way, like she's
yeah.
definitely been absolutely going on a tear. But it is interesting that, like, again, you're someone who is always brought up in the conversation around the best battlers in Australia consistently, and this is, I mean, very much because you sort of came in that top two in that first season of Worlds, that first the first season at the Melbourne Regional Championship, and obviously performed incredibly well at that World Championship. And I feel like, you sort of set yourself up as a really strong battler from Australia from very, very early on. And that's continued on with the results. Like, very first regional in Australia from the next season, the 2023 season, you come ahead with that number one, the number one medal around your neck. So, like, you're obviously a very strong player. And this season, in where you've sort of had these back-to-back regionals where you drop the first round and just have to absolutely gun it through the losers bracket, so many battles in a row, as like in Sydney last year, as any chance to talk about myself, Sydney last year, I did the same thing where I, dropped that first round. I know it is so many rounds to get to that sort of, top of the tournament. And as you said, like so many big names as well, like Inner Bloom, I 100%, as much as he's an enemy of the show, for stealing my top eight, Matt. He is really good, and to have to face him in like round 3 of the tournament is just insane. And I guess, just as a little bit of an aside, it would be really nice if next season we can have seeding in our tournaments. That would be
Oh yes, yeah. We definitely
really
need that.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to comment as well, though, and this is sort of going back a little bit to the Brisbane tournament. You sort of mentioned that you sort of ran something slightly, I guess, irregular in Arctibax, and this is because I was literally looking at this data like 6 hours ago, that you're
Hmm.
one of the only 2 players to top 8 with Arctibax. I mean, ever, not just in this
Hmm.
season, but just like of all time. How do you approach these sorts of, like, Arctibax isn't a Pokemon that many people have experience with. Do you just sort of, and I know this is talking 6-7 months ago,
Hmm.
but when you approach these sorts of tournaments and GBL, because again, obviously you're doing plenty well in that as well, do you see the potential of a mon and then try and learn everything about it to then understand that it's good? Are you very much sort of learning, leaning on other people in discussions and just talking it out with, your team, for example, to sort of, I guess, get the hint that Arctivax could be good? Or, like, at what point, when does the study come in? Because I feel like most of your opponents in Brisbane were not prepared for an Arctivax.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think like when Octobax got released, like it had a really powerful move set, right? So initially, like, I was like, okay, this thing is going to be very, very good, but it's a very inaccessible Pokemon as well, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't nearly catch as much compared to my peers. So even finding one of those things took me a long, long time. Let alone like finding, one that had a good stat product or had like the appropriate CP, right? But I was chatting to some teammates. Well, not some. Actually, one Ricardo, like, or his name's his IGN's Decent, and he was actually running it on GBL quite a bit. And I was just sort of hearing him talk about it. And I'm like, look, we can actually try to make this work in the play Pokemon scene because I felt like it was a really, really good time, a really, really good moment to bring it in. And there was not really that many like hard answers to it, right? Apart from Medi, but even then, like you could clap back with Avalanche and Dragon Prince, like can get it to like a really really good farm down range on the secondary or tertiary matchup. So yeah, like I think when Pokemon like new Pokemon get released, I think like you have to sort of keep note or keep track of like, well, what's the stat product, what's the move set, what's the typing, will it work? It may not necessarily be straight away when the Pokemon can shine. It may be like a couple of seasons down the road, but it's important to sort of keep track of like all the Pokemon in the meta, right? Because there will be a time where certain Pokemon will shine. Like for example, Frostlass, right? Frostlass was only good for like a few metas, but when it was good, it was super strong. And then now it's dropped out again, right? Because it's just not friendly at the moment. But it will rise back up. I believe same thing with Octobax. I think Octobax will come back. It's not bad at the moment, but I think there are better dragons right now that we can use.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and when you were talking about Octovax, I was just like, I think we've said before, I don't think Steve even has a Frigibax. So definitely,
No, hang on. I caught one, and I was messaging Debbie because like I was at home and the shadow appeared on my radar, and like I sprinted to it because I knew it was going to despawn, and it was way too big. So, it's literally un-Arctobaxable. So
maybe better for Ultra League.
I had to get mine traded. I think after I was sold on Arctobax itself, like in the theory behind it, I definitely had to trade to get one. So
yeah,
that was good.
Oh, good. So as we recall, now you are at 230 points out of 250. So really, and also locals got announced. Also when we had that CP dropped at the same time. So locals was announced, and that will be starting locals in March. So I suppose I know you and I've had chats about this, but like, was there any thought about attending Perth Regional?
Oh, definitely. Like it was a tough call. Like I wasn't really happy with how I performed, at least in this season at that time. So I would have loved to redeem myself a little by even pushing further or trying to go for the title. Um, but look, Perth is really expensive to travel, right, from the East Coast.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, yes. So as much as I love you, Debbie and Adam and Co, like it was tough. It was tough. It was. I just felt like I had to make a call from a financial point of view, and
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I made that remark more because like I have to fly out to see you guys, as in like I have to go to
I
whether
know, I
it's
know.
Brisbane or Melbourne. I'm just like, okay, come on, it's just over to me. Come on, but no,
Yeah,
it's totally understandable.
that's why you're the goat. That's why you're the
Ah,
goat.
okay. Well, I mean, I've already had Rick say I'm the favorite. I've got Vish here now. Like,
Oh yeah. He
I'm on
didn't.
2 for 1,
He didn't
Steve.
go that far. He didn't go that far. And I'm
uh,
not asking him the question just to make sure.
Because I mean, like Vishy kind of like gave not hints, but like made a bit of banter on when Jokovic was like going like, oh yeah, I'm coming to Perth, like as in like those like little remarks that he was just like, oh yeah, going for the three-peat, and that you were like, oh yeah, I'll come too, along those lines. So there was a hint there, but obviously uh that was a lie.
No, I mean, I think we were playing around a little bit on Twitter. I think at that time, I think both of us kind of decided it's probably not it, but why not have a bit of banter and get like the overseas crowd hyped, right? Because I saw Caleb and Cohen on Twitter as well, so I was like, okay, why not showboat a little?
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
pulled the tweet up, and you tweeted, "I'll only go if Yakko goes. Someone needs to put him in his place."
Someone definitely does. This guy is something else this season.
Mm,
I mean, hey,
yeah.
I think that Triple Crit probably did a pretty good job when he got him in that in that challenge with Shadow Vic, Wigglytuff, Basti. But that's it.
Oh, that happened? Okay.
Yeah, so
Glad
I
someone
mean,
got him this season.
yeah, basically they had a cup, and Triple Crit ended up winning the cup. And he asked Yakko, "Are you gonna change your team for the challenge?" And Yakko was like, "Yeah." So Triple Crit was like, "All right, bet."
Oh, love it, love it. Anything to get a psychological advantage on Yakko, right? Yeah, let's do it.
I think it's the only way to beat him, man.
Yeah. Or face him at Worlds.
Oh, on
Oh.
stream too.
Flashbacks.
Uh,
Good
good
times.
set. It was a good set. It was a very good set. Yeah.
It was.
No, that was I still am a little bit bitter that like it was like such early Aussie bloodshed on at Worlds, but you know, it is what it is. It happened, and hopefully not so early leading into Hawaii or into Honolulu. But talking about things Honolulu wise, have you started prepping? Like is there I suppose like whether it's like prepping for Worlds itself or prepping for the trip?
No, no. Like, so from a trip point of view, I've booked my flights and accommodation. So that's all set. But from a PvP standpoint, no. I think I'll wait till June. We can start thinking about ideas and team comps and stuff. Maybe even after NAIC, right? Because
Mm.
there's a couple of tournaments I think, like in the meta. There's one in Bologna, is it? Like the
Yeah,
Italian
Bologna.
one?
That
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
where it was changed in the middle of the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a crazy thing that we still haven't heard back from them on if they're going to be in the previous meta or the new one, right?
There's been rumors that I've seen Twitter rumors that they're talking about having the meta update, the move updates actually come in like the Friday before. And so it
Okay.
sounds like
Yeah.
there's potential of the move updates happening early so that it's
Yeah.
all in the new season, which would be nice. Something definitive would be good.
That'll be nice. That'll be nice. I know
Yeah.
there's a couple of Aussies going, so we definitely want them to do well, but obviously with a little bit more prep, right?
Well, I mean, if it's a Friday and it starts, you know, Rego on the Friday, it's a little bit close, but it's still something.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys
yeah.
had to do it back in Brisbane last year, right? So
And
was
that
like,
That
worked
was
fine
that
for someone.
that was actually fine, you know. I'll bring those moments back. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Brutus swing am for us.
Oh, that was a thing, right, Steve?
Yeah, I
Oh
figured I'd
man.
give you an extra hour to, think about your first matchup, just while we got those issues sorted.
Go get
Good
lunch.
times.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I think Hawaii is just I haven't been to Hawaii myself. Have you been before, or is there anything that you're planning to do while you're there?
No, no, I haven't been to Hawaii. It'll be the first time, so I'll be there for a week. But I'll be alone for this one. So I'll be staying back home with the little bub. So it'll just be me this time. But I'll be with the crew, right, with the Aussie crew. So
Mm.
I think we'll probably uh spend some time to prepare for the event, and then maybe like a day or so after the event to just do some traveling before we head back.
Yeah, and
Mm.
shout out, Cindy at home. Uh,
Yeah, MVP.
The real MVP.
I know, I know. She really wanted to go to Hawaii as well, so we'll have to take her another time.
oh yeah, with
Yeah,
the world's championship money, it's
yeah.
put it to good use. I mean, I know they increased all of the prize pools and stuff. Do you know off the top of your head what that what that number one prize pool is for worlds?
25K, I think. I think it's this time around it's 25K.
And that's in USD, right?
Yes.
USD, correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, 38 grand AUD.
Yeah,
After tax,
sizable, why not?
after tax, probably probably back to like 28.
But hey.
Straight into the mortgage, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta paint a few walls. No, that's fair enough. But I guess, Vish, this is very much your third World Championships. There's a lot of sort of new names that are sort of hitting that world qualification this season round. So, we've got names like Rocket Claire, like Triple Crit. We've got names like Z-Tub. Like these guys haven't been to Worlds before. And this is something that we actually asked you last year when we were doing that podcast with you and Fishy Legs. But,
Mm.
after another World Championship under your belt, do you sort of have any, I guess, advice or feedback for these other Aussies that are sort of heading to Worlds for the first time?
Um, Go back and listen to that previous podcast. I can't remember what I said, but I mean, look, I think it's honestly easier said than done, but try and enjoy the experience, right? Like, barring the tournament aside, like meeting the PvP community outside of Australia is amazing, right? Like there's so many heroes or people that we look up to that are going to be participating in the tournament or even just going to be there, and just actually having a face-to-face conversation with some of them is the best thing about it, right? I think from a tournament perspective, look, I think you can. I don't believe in setting goals for Worlds, right? Because I think Worlds is a bloodbath, right? Like the best, yeah, the best of best is going to be out there. Someone's going to lose. Everybody's going to lose except one person, right? So, like, it's pointless setting a result-oriented goal, right, for this one. But I think if you come in with a good mindset. Just do the right level of preparation to make you feel confident in your skills, and just give it your all on the day. I think you'll go far, and just leave it all out there, right? Like
Mm.
I think again, like I think I said before, like everybody's who's been invited there is there for a reason, right? Like especially this season, um, um, it's like you deserve it. Whoever's qualified, through regionals, through locals, whatever way you've qualified, you're there for a reason. So um, don't doubt your skills or your ability. Like put the right level of preparation and hard work into the prep, and then yeah, try your best and see how you're going.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, and is something that I sort of keep hearing echoed quite a bit. And certainly Yakko is someone who, after the last World Championship, has sort of really, reflected and was talking about how it's very much a mindset game. And it's just about, trying to, enjoy yourself, be prepared, but sort of just doing, I guess, giving it your best, doing what you can. But at the end of the day, just having a great time, because like the big statistic is that 25% of the people that have qualified for Worlds are going to go O2, which
Mm,
is massive. Like, and as you said, they all deserve to be there. That's There's no way you can slice it that the bottom 25% are getting like cut out of the World Championships. Like, it's just, as you said, a bloodbath. Anyone can get round one, round two, Dune bug its accent, right? Like, it's
mm,
seriously such a dice roll. Everyone is really good, and so I think, as someone who is never going to have to worry about it, I think that not setting goals is probably a decent way to go. Especially, I know that in Yokohama there was a lot of like, everyone was stoked to be there, right? But there were certainly a few people who were more disappointed than others, because I think those expectations were there.
hmm.
And so I guess by not having those expectations, or trying not to have those expectations, you can maybe enjoy yourself a little bit more potentially.
Yeah, yeah.
But with that said, there is also the big question that is, and I blame one man named ValiantVish for making me ask this question. He forced my hand. He said,
Oh
"Steve, will you
man.
please ask this question? I'm begging you. I've got a really well thought out answer that I think is better than any answer that anyone can give out. This is the perfect answer to the question that is, who is the best battler in Australia?"
I should have not asked you to ask this question, honestly. I literally asked you not to ask this question.
Oh,
Oh
sorry, I
my
must have
god.
missed the word not. My bad. Anyway, answer.
I mean, it's Yako. It's easily Yako, right? He's yeah, based on the season alone, like he's the best. Um, and I was talking to him on the side as well, because yeah, we DM each other quite a bit, and like taking aside his gameplay, because I think his gameplay is second to none. Is up there with the very best. I think it's the mental side of things, right, which really um, uh, which really elevates the great battle to the best of the best. And without him knowing it, he's already elevated himself, because doing what he did in the local scene is insane. Um, like I think even in Brisbane, like Melbourne, I can't really talk too much on in terms of what he did and who he had to go through, but I remember Brisbane, like he had to go through everybody to get that
Mm.
title. Like he had to go through myself, he had to go through Rick, he had to go through Stumpy, and I can't remember who he had to go through in day one because he was in losers. And yeah, he played so well, and he kept that momentum going in Melbourne as well. So it's Yako. Like it's easily Yako. I think me and Rick were we feel like grandpas now, right? Like been
Oh, so
fighting the scene
young.
for ages. Yeah. Yeah. We feel quite old now. Like I'm just seeing all this new young blood and young talent, but like seeing Yako elevate himself to the next level. I'm so proud and I'm so happy for him as well. And you know what? Like I think he knows it as well. But when it comes to this event, like he'll put a bit of pressure on himself. But I think we all know, like the entire country knows he's the best, and we're in safe hands for Worlds.
Uh, no, I was just thinking, going, do we ask, going, who do you think is top three?
Top three. Top three. Okay, well, so I definitely think Rick. Like after Perth, after what he's done at Worlds as well, right? Like twice top 16, like the only player alongside Axon to do that. It has to be Rick. Like he's been on fire lately after Perth as well, just killing it in the local scene. Like again, great in GBL. I'm not sure what he's doing on Battle Frontier, but I'm sure he's killing it there too. Yeah, just Sasami knife in terms of battling, and then along with that, his experience as well. So I think he's definitely number two. I know he said me in the last podcast because yeah, I think in terms of battling ability, we're probably neck and neck. But when it comes to accolades, I think he's definitely got me there. Although he's been to Perth twice, so he's got me. He's got two more events than me. But Perth's not easy to win. So yeah, he definitely won that one there. And then yeah,
Mm.
third, I would say I would look. I think Adam has really elevated
Fish,
himself.
come on.
No, no, but I do want to give a shout out because I think it's me, like as three, but I do want to give a shout out because I feel like when we're talking about the best of the best from Australia, I think you have to have that conversation with Adam and what he did last year, right? Like well, I say yeah, it is last year, right? Yeah.
Here's last
Worlds
year.
feels Worlds feels like a while ago, but yeah, yeah. Adam like phenomenal in what he did, and just honestly, like I saw him at Worlds 2022,
Mm.
and it was basically me and Rick, because we were preparing a lot in that trip, and we saw Adam. I think it was like the Tuesday or the Wednesday before the event, and he was like, "Yeah, he rocked up with his team, and it was like a really old school team. Like it had like an Azu, it had a Sableye, it had a Reggie, it had a Didi, and I'm like, man, Adam, like, what are you doing? You're running like this, GBL season one team. What's happening? And he's like, look, I'm just having a good time, and like in prep and stuff, like we absolutely demolished him, and I was like, dude, you got to take this seriously, and Adam has that really sort of very laid back personality, right? And I think he did all right. I think he went 1-2 at Worlds that year, but obviously from there till what he did at Worlds 2023, leaps and bounds. Like as soon as he stepped on the world stage, you knew this guy, like he was a changed man with like all the experience. He won the Perth regional in that year. Like clearly did a lot of prep, and showed on the biggest stage that not only taking out Rick but going toe to toe with Wadaj, that this guy's it. So like he's from Perth, like doesn't really travel much out to the East Coast in terms of the regionals and stuff, but um like whenever he battles, like this guy is a name to watch out for. So I think when we're having the conversation in terms of the best battlers in Australia, like no offense to anybody else because there's a lot of good talent coming through the ranks. It has to be a top four conversation, I think, instead of a top three, with himself included.
Oh, so humble, Vish. I love it.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
if only we could have it like, a top one and then like second, third, and fourth together. So yeah, top four is fine through there. All
We all
right.
get medals.
Ah, that's
True, true.
true. True.
Yeah.
Or in some people get the incorrect medal. So all right. So as always, in the podcast, we have like a random question of the day. Now, this random question is, I think a bit more in your wheelhouse, as in like it is Pokemon orientated. So the question is, if you had to pick one of these three Pokemon to be in your team, which one would it be? Now the choices are: one, Shadow Bayleaf; two, Bastiodon; or three, Wigglytuff.
Why? Why? Why do I have to pick one?
And
Oh my
you're
god.
contractually obliged to bring it to Worlds.
Uh,
For a challenge.
if Wiggly gets Fairy Wind, maybe. Oh my god. But if it's this is tough. If I had to bring it to Worlds,
Mhm.
well, definitely not the Razor Leafer. Like for sure, because I don't
Kawhi
think
is
I'm.
crying right now.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, dude. I know he loves his Bailey. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think McGinn. It's Bailey for McGinn's time. Basti has play. Wiggly also has a lot of play. If we're taking like this meta, if this is the meta that we're going to be using for Worlds, I would say Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff
Yes.
is a really good pick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yes, I know Debbie's the fairy love. Right? There
I
we
mean,
go.
in
Oh, there
Yeah.
was no
fairness,
Whalmer on there.
yeah, clearly I didn't write this question.
Well, if Whalmer was on there, I would definitely go Whalmer.
Let's
There we
go!
go.
I'm taking that as a win for sure. Uh, I really just need someone like ValiantVish to run Whalmer so that it'll actually perform well. I mean, I guess Tomahawk ran it right, but it didn't do too well for him. So uh,
Coverage move. That's all we need. Yeah.
maybe next time. But hey, Wigglytuff is the only one of those three that have actually won a regional, right? So,
Basti hasn't won? No, Rob Fergus won
oh,
with
I mean,
Basti.
I guess I was talking this season.
Oh,
Rob
this
Berger won
season? Yeah.
back in the 2022 season.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. The Japanese, they're always very creative with their teams, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pull up with a Basti.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
out of pocket, just in the last regional, ended up coming
Yeah,
third with Basti. So
I saw that. His team looked really interesting. The for alligator. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's always getting very close. It just hasn't won. And triple crit, obviously in Melbourne, second place as well. Alongside
Sure.
Caleb's second place this season. It's always close. It's just never been there. But hey, Wigglytuff just
Nice.
Bridesmaid.
across the line. But
Bridesmaid. Always a
yeah,
bridesmaid.
exactly. But I mean, with that said, I mean, I guess we can probably wrap things up. I mean, first of all, thank you again, Vish, for sort of coming on.
Thanks,
It's
Fish.
taken some time to get you back on, but I'm sure it'll be the first of many because once you've got that world champion clout, oh,
It'd be too busy. It'd be too busy for us.
true, true.
Have to get it in the diary.
We'll contact your people.
Yeah.
But I guess important question is where can people sort of find you on the social medias? What's the Twitter/X at? And big question: streams when?
Well, Twitter, I think, is on X. It's ValiantVish underscore. Um, Streams, I think, after Worlds. Once I get my own,
Oi.
once I get my own place, get my own setup, because yeah, I'm sort of in between houses at the moment and stuff. So once I'm like actually settled, I've got like a good study space. Definitely keen on streaming.
Sick. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
after the deal with Axon, it was only a matter of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I think I got fishy soon. So
Oof.
we were actually meant to be streaming last week, but I think he got sick or something happened. So there'll probably be one this season at some point. It'll be a fun stream. It'll be like a bunch of meme stuff, but it'll be good.
Sick. We will be watching.
Mhm.
Definitely looking forward to that. But stay tuned to the @ValiantVish_ socials for all updates on that, because I will have my eyes glued. And you know, when the tweet appears, I'll be sure to retweet it for sure, because we need some more Aussie streaming types. Get us out there, hey? Because Debbie and I sure aren't doing it.
We just did a
No.
regional.
True.
Can you do all the regionals next season? If, play
We'll try our
doesn't show up?
best.
Hey, I'm keen. You know, as long as TPCI and ESL are happy to let us do it, I'll constantly be knocking on that door, and maybe we can finally actually get you on the Australian streams as well, seeing as we picked the one that you dodged. But
yes, let's do it.
sounds like a plan. But yeah, thank you, ValiantVish. Links are all in the doobly-doo, as always, as well. And thanks to everyone for watching. And, of course, all of the G'day Battler social thingos at G'day Battlers on Twitter and YouTube as well. And you can pretty much listen to it on all of the podcasty things as well. I think that it might be on Amazon Podcasts now. I haven't actually checked, but someone asked about it last week, and I said I would do it. And then I clicked a button that I think does it, but I didn't actually follow up. So maybe it's there, maybe it's not. We don't know. But all we do know is we will see you in the next one for the next Road to Worlds edition. And we will see ValiantVish on the world stage in Hawaii.
Bye.
See you then. Bye.
Are you gonna ask one of those cheeky, like, who do you think's the best in Australia? Because that's gonna.
Well, now definitely.
Oh, now
man.
that you mentioned it.